We're back. I'm Jordan, and today I am being joined by Deja, who is our intern for this semester. Welcome. Yay. Put cheers in the background, Leslie. Woo! Welcome. So it's just one mom today, but mom and young adult. And we're going to be talking about life during COVID and what that was like. I know, but parents need to know the perspective. They do, because adults had a different experience than you as a digital kid. And that perspective is important to help support you all in your young adult journey, doing literally anything at this point in life, studying for school, dating, communicating with personal people, but also professional people. Like, what can we absorb as parents from you in this conversation to take back with our kids?
Nice. Hi, everyone.
I would like you to sound more excited to join us today. It's going to be a fun time. You just graduated in December. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How does it feel?
It doesn't feel real, I feel like sometimes I should be more productive because all I did was read and write, but, that's why we're studying for the LSAT.
Reading and writing is productive. Also, congratulations on making the decision to go to law school.
Thank you.
Super exciting. So tell me, how did this graduation differ from the last one?
Well, high school graduation, or high school, my senior year, we were in person. So everything was just kind of rushed and so here you go.
But what did it look like? So for my graduation, right, setting the scene, we had the whole shebang. We had finals in person. We did prom, and then we all got dressed and ready together. We had people come over, do our makeup, do pre-graduation photos. And then we met, because I went to a Catholic school, we met at the National Shrine of the Basilica. There were step photos. We walked down the aisle. There were speeches, all this other stuff, and then a whole bunch of graduation parties. And for me, those are core memories. So I think it's important for other digital parents to know what that looked like for you.
Where I went to school, we had none of that. We had classes online, finals online, and then we got an email saying that we had graduation practice, and we all showed up on the football field with our masks on, lined up, they called our names, we went home. And then graduation was pretty much the same.
But you did get to graduate in person.
Yes, we graduated at a stadium.
Okay, so it was outside?
Yes, it was.
Did that feel genuine?
No, it was a little rushed. They didn't even tell us to turn our tassels. So it's okay. I did it though. Yay.
Well, we are proud of you here at FOSI, and I'm sure the audience is proud of you as well. But how did that shape your relationships with your peers at the time?
During COVID, all we had was our phones. So we just all communicated in the digital world. We used Snapchat and Instagram and FaceTime to, keep up with each other. But it was so prolonged that when we did enter the real world, it was hard for us to interact with each other outside of our phones.
So what did you all do for fun? So they told you all to go home, right, when COVID broke out, but you were still in the middle of your school session. So you were just working, doing schoolwork on your laptops?
We didn't have laptops at the time. They gave us a work packet and we're like, you guys will be off for 2 weeks. But it turned into the rest of the year and the next year. And,
So what did that look like if you all did not have laptops? Did you have iPads? Did you have to work on your phone?
So we completed our packets and then we were just being assigned assignments, I believe, via email. We didn't pick up school laptops until the summer before my senior year. And so, because my entire senior year was online.
So you had to keep going at more work?
I don't exactly remember how it ended. I just know that we didn't have those laptops yet until senior year because they were more prepared for how to go about teaching in the digital space.
That's fair. So did you have third spaces, as we're calling it, online where you could have school social time? So, they don't have recess in high school, but they had homeroom, study hours and stuff like that. Did you only get online to do your classes, or did you also have social time on your laptop?
We only were online to do our classes. We did have like breakout sessions for collaborative group work. Did we participate? No. But that was, I guess, their attempt at getting us to work together. But no one really wanted to be there.
Do you think it would have made a difference if they meaning the school administration, said, hey, how do you all want your learning to look like digitally so that it replicates in some shape or form your high school experience in person? It's different, like the work experience, right? People are like, if everyone works online, there's no water cooler conversations. The kitchen office is huge, but they didn't think about that, in my opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong, audience, if you had a different school experience with your kids, but it looked like the in-person aspect of school where it's just like you all come in, you have before class hours, you guys get to mess around, do whatever you want, hang out, share makeup tips, all this other stuff, and then you go to class. Whereas like you're home, you're probably not texting your friends at like 7:00 in the morning. Like you all are literally just rolling out of bed and turning on the laptop, doing your assignment, and then closing your laptop. It did seem like there was an effort to put into like that key socialization in high school. It was just more academic. Do you think having that experience, you would go back and say, hey, if you all are ever forcing online learning, you also need to force the social engagement of high school as well?
If they asked the students what that should look like, I don't think we would have an answer for them because we were all focused on just going back to school, because not only were we not having classes, all of our sports, all of extracurricular activities, everything was canceled. So we kind of didn't know what to do. If I was to go back in time or like talk to them now about how they should go about doing digital learning, I would have some ideas, but I couldn't necessarily say that my digital learning was executed well. But then by the time I got to college, we were in person. So it was like I didn't have a different experience. I had an in-person experience.
You wouldn't have anything
so I wouldn't
to compare it to.
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. No, I feel like it wouldn't be up until this conversation talking to you that I would have thought about that, right? Like I was concerned about like the younger kids because that is not normal in any aspect for a small child to just sit in front of a screen and just have conversations when a lot of their learning is play. But everyone's learning is play in some shape or form, right? Like I had a history teacher that used to come in different costumes and make voices, pull us in to tell us about the history of a piece of art or something. And to have that digitally, it just wouldn't have hit the same because we weren't a part of that experience. And I think it's really important to create the same aspect of learning to your best of your ability in the digital world as it is in real life. Up until this conversation, I would have never thought about how you all were essentially robbed of that experience because my junior and senior year really were core memories.
I know that, that time has passed for me, but if someone did ask me if it was possible, because I feel like I missed a lot because of COVID, but it's fine, I'm good.
Not trying to bring back any not great memories. So what did you all do for fun? Because I know sports were canceled. Obviously, classes were switched. Did you all do anything competitive in class, like after school activities that were digital or anything like that?
Unfortunately, that wasn't something that we did. The closest we got to interacting with each other in a space where we could have fun was like playing games online. That like Among Us came out. So we were like we all had a group chat and we would all log on to this game and we would play together.
What is about now? Meaning the person who's currently talking to you.
Parents, don't let your kids play. I'm just kidding. Among Us is like a who did it game, I guess. It's like little characters. Clue? It's characters and then like everyone's free and then all of a sudden someone is no longer there and you have to figure out who did it.
So it's a murder mystery.
Basically.
Okay. But it's
like cartoon like.
Is it like on Nintendo or something?
It's like you can play it on your phone or your iPad.
Because now I'm in.
Kids nowadays do play it.
Okay. Breaking from our normal schedule here, just an audience like takeaway, play Among Us. And let us know how you like it. podcast@FOSI.org. Is that the correct email? Yana, thumbs up. Yes. But anywho's.
Yeah, we played Among Us and like Call of Duty,
Okay. Yeah, I know
Those
Call
kinda
of Duty,
games.
but it doesn't like, I need like some fairy tale stuff, like some fun, like mystery, like solving things kind of games, or something that it tells me that it's good for my brain health.
Yeah, we just figured out how to play all of those games together.
Right, because I think that's important. People think that like, oh, they're doing that video game stuff again, but like it's something fun. What else are you supposed to do when you're like bitten from seeing each other in person?
I guess we met new people during the
Oh,
COVID.
nice.
So this is when group FaceTime also became a thing as well. So my friends would have friends and they would add their friends into a group FaceTime and we would all just sit on the phone and like live, like not live together, but like go through our together.
Oh, I love that.
We would just be in each other's presence digitally.
Okay.
It was a little weird at first, but I mean, now I do that anyway. So
yeah,
we actually didn't do much. And our parents were very strict on like who we could and couldn't see. I think I probably saw 2 friends.
for like health things,
Yes. Or well, like leaving the house.
Oh, okay.
The 2 weeks that we were supposed to be out of school, I met with like one person, and then during quarantine, I probably like met with like my best friend who was down the street. Our parents weren't playing that, you know.
No, that's fair. No, I understand. So did sports ever open back up?
Not while I was in school.
Really? Wow. That's like a little hypocritical of us as adults to be like, the NFL can start, NBA, WNBA, all these things can start, but like high school sports, nah. Like, so what are they supposed to do if that's their goal, you know?
A lot of students that I know that played sports, they either went to like a JUCO or
a what?
A junior college.
Oh, okay.
Or they were just, I don't know who worked it out, they're like scouts or their coaches, but they got into college and then tried out for sports. As opposed to getting recruited.
Wow. So it really like changed the trajectory for people, because like becoming a professional athlete is a career, but it seemed like the main focus was like kids need to academically succeed in life. So like, let's just keep pushing that. But the emphasis on mental health, physical health to a certain extent, because if you're playing sports, not just for the competitive aspect, but to just have exercise. I played CYO, which was, I want to say when I got to 4th or 5th grade, it wasn't a competitive league anymore. We were just playing for the sake of playing. CYO, Catholic Youth Organization. I think that's correct.
Okay.
But like Maine elementary school, when we played CYO, there was a championship, there were trophies, all this other stuff. And then like some adult somewhere was like, there needs to be an aspect of community sports that kids can just play for the sake of like being on a team, which was nice because like you got to show up for practice and still like have fun. And not be like constantly worried about school, constantly worried about disappointing somebody. Like you all, as long as you all were like playing together, whether you won or lost, there wasn't really a winner. The game just kind of ended. A lot of people have different opinions about community leagues, but I loved it. And I love the fact that like at the end of the year, your coach was responsible for like the team award. So like sportsmanship, best teammate, most improved, you know, like all of those things rather than like the number 1 champion for the CAYO league, blah, blah, blah. So there was a difference playing for your team or whatever versus like you just want to play to have a good time. So they should have done that for you guys.
I think everyone was in a space of like they didn't know what was going on. Everyone was kind of scared, so they just didn't want to risk it. Well, that did change when I got to college, though. There were college sports; everybody was playing.
Yeah, I know. I get being scared, but at the same time, like if you're not scared for things that are making you a profit, why are you scared for everyone else that just needs physical development? Or, you know, I read somewhere that you need, I think it's like 8 to 12 hugs a day in order to be like your soul to be whole. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. And I'm like, how many hugs a day do I get? I have a dog. So like, she's not letting me to not have hugs. I've got 2 kids that hug me constantly. And I tell them that it's not enough. So they'll hug me tighter. So like, I get that, but not everyone has the like benefit of having anyone in their life that is going to constantly hug them, which is sad. So like forcing everyone to stay home and never be held Like, can you imagine that?
Can I imagine that?
Well, yes, you can, obviously. The running joke, I don't know if you were old enough to know this or not, but this was also more of a DC thing. There was a Georgetown Cuddler, and he was breaking into women's like apartment just to hold them at night and then leave. I'm like, 100% creepy. The man needs to be punished for breaking and entering, obviously. But like, how lonely and sad is the man felt like he needed to be comforted and could only do that by breaking into somebody's home and like holding them, you know? You're looking at me like, that's creepy. That should not exist. But people are paid professional cuddlers. Did you know that? You pay someone to hold you. Like you go to this place, there's a bed or a sofa, whatever, and they just hold you for an hour.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe that's a generational thing. I don't want to be touched by
I'm not saying because society has gotten to a point where like people just don't hold each other, especially after COVID. Like it became weird to like, when do we start touching each other again? Kind of thing. Like even in my family, it got to a point where it's just like, do we still hug? And then like the aunties that you don't hug and they're like, how dare you? And it's like, am I allowed to hug you? Because you're immunocompromised. Like when do we start hugging again and it not be weird? And this is 6 years in the making of this, and it's still COVID residual trauma barriers that we've created.
I mean, I get that. We were in isolation for a while, but I think I also put myself in isolation as well. When I went to college, we were kind of free. Like we were.
Yes.
We had to wear masks, but I think that was the only like stipulation. And then if you got COVID, you had to quarantine. But I still kind of isolated myself in my dorm. I went to class, I went to eat, and then that was it.
I think there's a lot of self-isolation with people your age, though. Like, went on a hike in Great Falls with my whole family, and the little kids were out running around free. The older generation, so let's say the boomers and the Xers, were out having a good time. Me as a millennial, a very young millennial, don't laugh. People don't need to know my age. Were just out and about having a good time. And then it was the Z's that were walking around with headphones in, but they were with a group of people. And I just didn't understand the purpose of that. Like if you're going on a group hike with friends, why are all of you with your headphones? Like what is the purpose? And I did ask. And they're like, because I'm listening to music. But is that a residual from COVID?
Yes.
To be in a public space with people and still have headphones in. Like you all can't have a conversation.
I think we have to remember that we were isolated. We weren't really around our family like that as well. But that's what's the word? Not pattern. That's a habit that was built over time.
That's fair.
That wasn't.
How do I encourage you all to break that? What can this digital mom do for you?
Some people like music. Some people it centers them. Some people it helps them focus,
well, yes. I'm not saying don't listen to music.
I think that's what you're saying.
In my opinion, going on a hike with a group, a collective thing to do. Like, oh, look at that bird. Oh, remember when we saw blah, blah. Like you can't connect on anything. You're not even listening to the same music.
I think they could hear you if you spoke to them, no?
Right. But that's not healthy to have to multitask and literally listen to a song and have a conversation with someone at the same time while you're hiking. Like be in the moment. It's also like for me, safety, right? Like if you're on a hike by yourself, don't just have your headphones on loud.
I thought they were with your group.
Well, I'm hitting all bases, okay?
Audience, don't go on a hike by yourself with headphones on. I think that's the lesson there.
That's not where I went. That's not where I was going. Where I was going was the listener takeaway is for people, parents or non-parents, whatever. If you are in an environment where you're like, oh, what are you, Z-ers? Those Z-ers always doing X, Y, and Z. Subconsciously or consciously, whatever you can put yourself in their shoes, say, if I didn't go to prom, couldn't do this during COVID, during my high school years, I'd be acting as a young adult.
Yeah.
Like you don't have, even if you had the examples of your parents that weren't in the digital age, you still had an environment where you just could not create core memories the same way as everyone else did. And going on a hike with headphones in might be your way of like figuring out how to be in public spaces again, but still be in like, it could be a safety mechanism, but it's also like a way to have your own peace, you know? Am I speaking for you? Is that correct?
I believe everything you're saying is pretty accurate. But
I appreciate that.
I think no one really thinks about having to entertain yourself, being in front of a device all day, like how that affects us as adults, where we are no longer
we need
supposed to be isolated, you know?
The village needs to do a better job in person and online, just making sure you all feel safe to take your headphones off, because we'll also create an environment where like you going on a hike, the most entertaining thing to do when there's a whole bunch of grumpy people talking about, those Z-ers, you know? And maybe you'll meet somebody new on a hike. This was fun. I really enjoyed the chat. What is the audience takeaway for this? Go easier on the Z-ers. They're trying.
Or just inquire.
Yes.
You know, ask them why they don't want to play outside or go out with friends or get off of their phones. It's ingrained in their brains at this point. So
no, it seems like it's a safety mechanism habit, which is not necessarily a bad one, but the village, who are not Z-ers, also need to actually treat you all like this is a village. You all are young adults. We still need to, you know, cater to the herd or whatever it is. And we'll see you and give y'all a thumbs up. Life is okay.
And it starts with the children. Get those iPad kids outside.
Well, if you were listening to a couple of episodes before,
well, maybe they can't go outside.
Not all kids can go outside, okay? Not everyone has the luxury of getting in a car and driving to Great Falls for a nice hike. Some people don't live in Great Falls. So yes, do better, village, making sure that if you see kids out and about, just keep an eye on them in a good way in the physical world so that they don't feel like their only community is online, but make them feel comfortable if they do choose to be online. Is that a good takeaway? You like that? All right. I got a thumbs up from a Z-er. I feel like I'm doing well. Well, I'm not too far ahead of you. You know, I'm young mom. All right. Let's just let the audience go home. Thank you so much for joining us, Deja. You're doing a phenomenal job at FOSI. I appreciate you joining us on Moms Off Mute. Join us every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts. If you have any questions, email us at podcast@fosi.org to learn some more tips, tricks, resources about being a digital parent or things that your digital citizen needs to be prepared for the digital world. Join us at fosi.org. Thank you very much. This podcast is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional advice, including medical, mental health, or legal guidance. The views expressed by hosts and or guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the Family Online Safety Institute, otherwise known as FOSI. Guest contributions are based on personal experience and are not intended as professional guidance. Any mention of products, services, organizations, or tools is for discussion purposes only and does not constitute an endorsement by the Family Online Safety Institute